Olivia's household in Twelfth Night is presented as disorderly, run badly, a haven of chaos and disorder for ideological reasons about Shakespeare's generation. The implication, very firmly, is that Olivia's estate needs an appropriate aristocratic man, needs a gentleman to run it for her. That a household, an aristocratic household with a woman in charge, is actually has the problem where no one is in proper control. This is not what we believe today. This is not what I believe, but this is certainly what this play seems to believe. Orsino's solution, a proposed solution, is very simple. He and Olivia should get married, the Countess and the Count. And yes, sometimes Orsino is called the Duke and sometimes called the Count because that's Shakespeare moves quickly and sometimes doesn't deal with details, consistency in details. Also, I would suggest this play may have been revised many times over the years and the little bits and pieces have changed around. But of course, because of Orsino and Olivia's respective personalities, that's just not going to happen. It is the most reasonable idea on the surface, the most practical idea, but the emotional logic just isn't there, so it's just not going to happen. This leads to, and especially I want to look at Act 2, Scene 3, this leads to we have the disorderly house guest, we have Olivia's uncle, Sir Toby Belch, because he's a knight named Sir Toby Belch. That's a gag name. Yes, it is. Who is a knight who doesn't behave the way a knight should be, who's up drinking, carousing, who's brought his idiot buddy Sir Andrew Aguecheek here to try to get Sir Andrew Aguecheek to marry his niece. Ague means is a disease. It's like a flu. Sir Andrew Aguecheek's name means essentially Sir Freddie Flueface. Hello, I'm Sir Frederick Flueface. If your name is Freddie Flueface or Andrew Aguecheek, you are not getting the girl. It's just like that, right? Your comedy name tells you, check your name. If it's a comedy in Shakespeare, check your name tag. If you've got a gag name like that, just don't spend any money on this courtship. Um, these are great clown characters. There's also the clown Festi, who's tricky, somewhat cruel, extremely musical. This play comes from the second half of Shakespeare's company's career when they've replaced their original clown with their second major clown, their second star clown, who sang a lot. You can see Festi sings a lot. He's also the fool in King Lear, singing fool. Sir Toby should be someone who behaves well, who should be like the main male aristocrat in charge, but he's a train wreck. He's just drinking and singing at 3 in the morning and causing trouble. He's just crazy barfly, Sir Toby Belch. The only thing he ever gets himself together to do is this elaborate trick on Malvolio. The conflict with Malvolio shows up in Act 2, Scene 3. Um, Sir Toby and Sir Andrew and Festi have been singing a round, essentially, a catch. It's a round, hold thy peace, thou knave, shut up, shut up, shut up, and they're going around, it goes on, right? And Malvolio enters. This is Act 2, Scene 3 from line 75. My masters, are you mad? Or what are you? Have you no wit, manners, nor honesty, but to gabble like tinkers this time of night? Do you make an alehouse of my lady's house, that you squeak out your cosier's catches without any mitigation or remorse of voice? Is there no respect of place, persons, nor time in you? And Sir Toby says, we did keep time, sir, in our catches. Snick up, go hang. We kept time in our song. This is a tough thing for an aristocrat to hear. Listen to the language Malvolio is using. You're gabbling like tinkers. You're cosier's catches. You're like not just working class people, but low end working class people. The last tinker we met was Christopher Sly, the drunk being thrown in the house, behaving like an alehouse. An alehouse is the lowest end of the drinking establishment. You're behaving like extremely lower class people. What's tough here for Sir Toby to hear when he refuses to have this thing is he's being scolded by a steward who is simply kind of the top servant of the household. The person who's a knight is being scolded by a commoner for behaving low class, for his low class behavior. Um, Sir Toby famously says, "Dost think because thou art virtuous, there will be no more cakes and ale? Do you think although you're like prudent, you're puritanical, prudish, um, will actually banish the fun? There will be fun. You're not in charge. You're going to stop the fun. Um, Cakes and ale are a specific kind of traditional English village celebration that the Puritans, the kind of hardcore Protestants, tried to stamp out. They're both wrong. They're both right. They are both right. Like there will be cakes and ale despite you. And Mr. Toby has a point. Malvolio is not going to banish fun from the world. On the other end, Malvolio is right. They do not respect time, place, or person. They do not behave. These people are not behaving as they ought to. There is a power of it, and they're both wrong. They both think they should make the decisions. This is a power vacuum. Neither of these guys should be in charge. They are both flawed. Neither each is trying to step up and failing to occupy the role that Olivia's future husband should occupy in keeping order, and somehow Olivia cannot keep these dudes under control. That is what the play thinks. There is a problem here, and it's going to need Sebastian to come in and knock a head or two.